Sitting here eating breakfast. Actually, technically speaking, it's my dinner, but it'll have to suffice. That's what happens when your schedule is all backwards, but that is the life I live. So where was I at? And people bitching about me eating, and I'm like, I'm not eating. Now I'm eating. Right, but anyway, I was thinking I hadn't made a video on the Second Amendment in a while. But this article was written, and I feel like I've heard this name before. Charles Cobb Jr. Old black man. He's coming with that, 1960s Black Panther, talking points about the Second Amendment. And I actually thought that this piece was actually going to go somewhere. And it did not go, where I thought it was going to go. And it was actually quite disappointing. And it further reinforces to me why a lot of these black elders or olders gotta go. Because by the time I get to the end, you're gonna see he not even making sense. Okay, so it's this is from inthesetimes.com, and it shows a black man with some sort of semi-automatic shotgun in the window, kind of looking like Malcolm X. It says an unidentified member of the Detroit chapter of the Black Panther Party stands guard with a shotgun on December 11th, 1969. Black political struggle north and south has long relied on guns for self-defense. This is written March 1st, 2018. All right, so this is 2 years ago. I don't know why this came up at the top, because every couple of days I type in black community, Second Amendment, black community guns, or black people and guns, Second Amendment, just to see like what articles are posted, because there's so few, there's so very little that even, it's like the Second Amendment is just not a part of the black struggle. It's not a part of black existence in America, despite the fact that black people ramble on and about racism and all this other stuff, right? All we see is the gun crime from Ray Ray and Pookie in the community, right? But the title is called "Guns Have Always Been Vital to the Black Political Struggle." From slave revolts to self-defense, black revolutionary history is often ignored in the gun control conversation. Guns themselves are not central to gun violence. My thinking on this is shaped by my experience as a student, nonviolent coordinating committee organization in Mississippi in the 1960s, where guns helped keep us alive. Indeed, the centuries-long history of black armed rebellion against slavery and the resistance to white supremacist terror illustrates that guns have always been vital to black struggle. To be clear, there should be gun control. I'm like, eyes roll. You can control guns, however, without taking them away. Oh, so basically you're saying we need to, restrict gun rights into oblivion. And then again, completely ignoring how gun control specifically targets the black community more than any other community. As we've all seen when it comes to policing and marijuana charges and stop and frisk and the disproportionate policing of black youth and black men. It amazes me how you get these black olders that say that shit is racist, I lived through it, yada yada yada, and then they rely so heavily on the system that they just got finished saying is racist and I lived through it. Like, this is why I don't take these old niggas seriously. and it's just like it's irritating. It's to the point where it's like I don't have any respect for these old black men. I don't. I'm like, y'all niggas not even making sense. You know what I'm saying? I'm supposed to look up to you and go to you for wisdom and shit, and everything you say is nigga babble. It's like this shit don't even make sense. Let's examine the argument. From the right we hear expressions of fear and hostility, fear of immigrants, of black people, of the government they consider inherently oppressive. The NRA head Wayne LaPierre defended gun rights at the Conservative Political Action Conference just a week after the Parkland, Florida massacre, denouncing Barack Obama, the media, Hollywood, European-style socialist control of the Democratic Party, George Soros, Michael Bloomberg, Mexicans, China, Black Lives Matter, and NFL players. From the left liberal arenas, often elite and entitled quarters, we hear a kind of class bias, the idea that there is something off, even dangerous, in the minds of gun proponents. Take Obama's comments that small town residents cling to guns and religion. Quite frankly, I do not know why anyone needs an AR-15. And this man's like, been through the civil rights era. I can't with these people. But there are people where I live who like to shoot paintball guns and pretend they are Rambo, and I do not understand this either. Like, first off, it's too old. Like, what you know about paintball? What I do understand is that guns are uniquely romanticized in this country. For those who desire them, an AR-15 is an equivalent of a toy cowboy pistol kids are given at Christmas. Slave revolts notwithstanding, romanticized in my own African American family life, it is often the worst aspects of gun use that are most romanticized. Their use in the conquest of Native Americans and in maintaining white supremacy, even their use by killers like Al Capone or Bonnie and Clyde. This has bred a dangerous tolerance for gun possession and gun violence in the U.S. culture unlike any other. And so the fuck what? You know what I'm saying? Notice how he points out, white people use guns to oppress the Native Americans, and Al Capone, organized criminalization. They use guns to, terrorize Chicago and it sees but like, it's like, and if black people had those same guns, then maybe they could have freed themselves earlier. Or if black people had them same guns, maybe they would have never became slaves. Or if black people had those, same guns, then they wouldn't have been terrorized. I mean, at the beginning of the piece, he talks about using those guns as a, what did he say? As a my thinking on this is shaped by my experience as a student nonviolent coordinating committee organizer in Mississippi in the 1960s, where guns helped keep us alive. Like, nigga, you ain't even making sense. Damn. Like, I can't, like, see, this is what, like, he's got to be, like, just a political shill. Like, he's got to be, somebody's just paying his old ass to write articles, and your non-critical thinking black people are just going to read this and be like, an old nigga has spoken. So, we gotta believe in this shit. I'm like, nigga, you not even making sense in your own piece. You contradicting yourself in your own piece. For those who desire them, an AR-15 is equivalent to a toy cowboy pistol. Kids are given at Christmas. Slave revolts notwithstanding, romanticized in my own African American family life. It is often the worst aspects of gun use that are most romanticized. Their use in the conquest of Native Americans and in maintaining white supremacy, even their use by killers like Al Capone and Bonnie and Clyde. This has bred a dangerous tolerance for gun possession and gun violence in U.S. culture like any other. Again, what is wrong with gun possession? I mean, at the very beginning, he talks about To be clear, there should be gun control. You can control guns, however, without taking them. So what is the problem with what does he say? This has bred a dangerous tolerance of gun possession and gun violence in the U.S. culture, unlike any other, right? If he wants to say gun violence, right? I could partially agree with that, like the idea that there's this culture of gun violence and everything. You see it in the movies and all that other shit. But notice how he throws in gun possession. Gun possession. This has bred a dangerous tolerance for gun possession. And then he goes on to say, and gun violence, and you know. But I'm like, what's wrong with gun possession? See, this is how you know, like, they just don't want you to have guns. You know, and again, like I swear, like if a white supremacist wrote this article, right? Like if a Klan member wrote this article, like, black people will be quick to call it out, right? We would recognize, hold on. We would recognize that, what was I going to say? Because that was oh so delicious. We would recognize that we should focus on what white people try to deny us, not what they give us access to. As I've said, they deny us access to guns. They deny us access to money. They deny us access to capital. You could throw that in there. They deny us access to resources. You know, previously they denied us access to an education, the ability to read. All of these things are the type of things that empower you. What do they give us access to? Religion. Oh, yeah. Subscribe to religion, because they know ain't no power in that shit. That is not a threat. If it was, they wouldn't have gave it to us. I pay attention to what my oppressor denies me, not what he gives me access to what he denies me. And so, like, the way that black people run around talking about, oh, the racism, white supremacy, the system, oh, we're so oppressed, and they just throw their lives, their rights away. You know, I'm just like, what am I a part of? What was this like? Was I just born in the stupid group? Like, is that what it is? Because that's how I feel sometimes. You know, I mean, that's how I feel. It's just like this shit in China. Everybody was going to comment on the shit in China. And shout out to Abba and Preach for actually stating what it needed to be said, so I don't even have to make the goddamn video. You know what I mean? I'm like, and what you gonna do about it? Nothing. And as Abba excellently put it, you know, China's got all of Africa's debt. That's why the Chinese are in there doing whatever the hell they want to do, or feeling like they can do whatever the hell they want to do. Ain't gonna be no response. Africa doesn't have a military. They only got an air force. They don't even manufacture their own weapons. So the fuck what that the Chinese are kicking black people out of Africa? So the fuck what? Number one, why are you over there? And then number two, I mean, it's like you go over there and the Chinese are like known for being assholes. There's no recourse of action. You know, they do what they want to do. It's communism. It's communism. It's no different than many of the dictatorships that exist in Africa. There's no justice. There's no rights. There's no constitution. There's no Bill of Rights and shit. That's what I understand about black people as black Americans. I'm like, you don't understand, you know what I mean, how good you got it in terms of the document that is the American Constitution. You have no idea. There's a lot of stuff that black people have got by holding white people to the words that they wrote down. Because, like, they got to maintain something. That woman said that at that Emory University when she was talking about that Tennessee Columbia situation, you know, one of Thurgood Marshall's, you know, first cases before he became Supreme Court Justice. And she talked about how you know, they tried to lynch Thurgood Marshall, and there was a white guy in the car, and they followed Thurgood Marshall that was put in the squad car, and they were trying to find some place to lynch him, but his other fellow lawyer, the white dude, was just kept following him around in the car, just kept following him. So then they took him back to the courthouse, and even the judge at the courthouse was like, let him go. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to stand for something. Meaning talking about, you know, the Constitution, you know, talking about laws and everything. No, we're not just going to come in here and just do whatever the fuck we want to do. Okay, this has already gone as far as it's going to go. Okay, this is what the court case is. The man won the court case. That's it. That's the end of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. That's why I got this love-hate relationship with America. That doesn't exist anywhere else. You go to Africa, they had that Nigerian dude that was protesting. He left America and went to Africa to go protest some shit in Nigeria, and they threw his ass in jail. That was the video I did talking about them wearing them stupid-ass British wigs. You know what I mean? They just, oh, he is inciting violence. Throw him in jail. You know what I'm saying? No trial. He stay in jail until I feel like I let him go. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what they do in Africa. And the Chinese doing the same thing. So I'm like, what's the difference? You know what I'm saying? Whether it's Chinese niggas or niggas, it doesn't matter. They both do the same shit. Anyway, getting off topic. It is only when it comes to the black freedom struggle that gun use is largely ignored and often demeaned. Consider the mid 20th century Southern freedom movement. People are often startled when I insist that guns helped make the movement possible, but guns were a routine part of Southern life. They helped put food on the table in poor rural communities. They were used to fend off night riders seeking to murder civil rights activists and their supporters. Indeed, few Southern homes, black or white, were without guns. Guns were not the problem, but how they were used was critical. Klansmen and the like defended white supremacy through violence. Their actions were backed by state and local governments and largely ignored by federal government. The armed resistance of local movement supporters were invaluable to the movement's survival. Groups such as the Deacons of Defense and Justice of Louisiana — I gotta look up Justice of Louisiana because I never heard about that until now — formed to protect nonviolent workers of the Congress of Racial Equality Corps, or the Black Guard, formed in Monroe, North Carolina — got to look them up too — by the NAACP. Leader Robert F. Williams, was consciously political, highly disciplined, and visibly active in protecting movement activists, but their contributions are erased by a canon that defines the movement as nonviolent. I agree with that. That's why there's a problem with the whole rhetoric of, oh, nonviolence, my nonviolent organization. It labels black people as pacifist. That's why they like Martin Luther King and they don't like Malcolm X. That's why we have Martin Luther King Day and we don't have Malcolm X Day. Okay, because Malcolm X was up there, giving it to the white folks like they needed it to have it given to them or given to them. Right? But when it came to Martin Luther King, come here, come hold hands. We're all God's children, little black boys and little black girls and white children, and we all holding hands and all that shit. Yeah, of course, white people want to promote that. You know what I'm saying? Like again, if you abusing somebody, you want somebody that's going to dish out or return what you've been dishing out. Or you want somebody who's going to talk that turn the other cheek, type of rhetoric. Which one you want? If I'm the humans, do I want to deal with Professor Xavier or do I want to deal with Magneto? I want to deal with Professor Xavier, because Professor Xavier is talking all that, come together and we shouldn't use our powers against you and all that other shit. Yeah, that's Martin Luther King. They don't want to deal with Magneto. Magneto's like, fuck that shit. These humans, they ain't built like us anyway. Fuck that. You know what I mean? Because that's exactly what Malcolm X was talking about, shooting two-legged dogs and all that shit. Like, please, they ain't want to hear that shit. Anyway, what about today? Gun violence has unquestionably grown, and more guns are. Wait, did I skip a part? Yeah, and more guns are in more hands, but it remains unproven whether the latter is primary cause of the former. In poor inner city communities, the problem of gun violence seems to have grown because of society's willful refusal to create a level playing field. Banning certain types of weapons will not solve the issue of rage, alienation, and lack of opportunity that underline such problems. As I once heard Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan remark, if you create a jungle, don't be surprised if there are predators in it. And I agree with that paragraph right there. That paragraph right there is solid. Now watch him fuck it up in the subsequent paragraph. And nothing short of some kind of militarized confiscation will even begin to remove the more than 300 million guns in private hands. It may be possible nonetheless to achieve some limited forms of gun control. I like to suggest mandatory gun insurance, national registration of and proficiency testing, a 21-year age requirement, and tough penalties for wrongful use of guns. But real gun control, that which could reduce or end gun violence, requires a values revolution and radical humanistic reset of our thoughts and behavior towards ourselves and others. That may be impossible in this country at this point. Now, what do you think I have a problem with him with the latter part, with his last paragraph? He just got finished saying that the problem of gun violence seems to have grown because of society's willful refusal to create a level playing field. We're talking economics here. We're talking about poverty here. So if I eliminated the poverty, which is causing the gun violence, because that's where we see the gun violence, where niggas is po, okay? Right? Where niggas is going into drug trafficking and the narcotics trade because there's a lack of economic opportunities in those environments. If I eliminate the poverty, I shouldn't have to institute new gun laws, right? Because the idea is that the poverty is creating the crime, right? Poverty creates social dysfunction, which creates crime, right? Because if you're growing up poor, right, then you struggle and you have a whole bunch of stress and anger and alienation, everything he said, right? And you're trying to make money and you're trying to eat and you're trying to survive. That leads to violence in such communities, right? So if we're fixing that, why would we need to continue with the onslaught of the presentation of gun laws, right? If we did, it's like Michael Bloomberg, right? Oh, we got to have stop and frisk because, urban crime and everything. And I'm like, why don't you take all that energy that you're putting into stop and frisk and put it into dealing with the underlying economic problems that exist in these predominantly black communities, and then you wouldn't have to stop and frisk. Has that ever dawned on anybody? Right? And then even to go further, right? And this is the part that absolutely kills me when it comes to these black elders and they want to talk about, gun control and all this other shit, right? So the first thing he says, I like to suggest, right? Let me back up a bit because, he says, what he said, banning certain types of weapons will not solve the issues of rage, alienation, lack of opportunity that underlie such problems. First off, we already know and we've already addressed and pointed out that the majority of the gun crime in the black community is handgun, overwhelmingly handgun. I mean, it's handgun across the board, but it's overwhelmingly handgun when it comes to the inner city, black on black violence. It's overwhelming handgun. So banning AR-15s, AK-47s, because every once in a while there's some deranged white boy that shoots up a school or shoots up a theater or something like that. It ain't got nothing to do with black folks. Nothing to do with black folks and reducing inner city crime, because all of that is done with handguns. Okay? So going back to his suggestions, he says, I like to suggest mandatory gun insurance. Oh, mandatory gun insurance. You know what's so funny about the whole mandatory gun insurance thing, right? So New York made a big stink because of the NRA's carry guard, right? And they filed this lawsuit and say we didn't give them licensure to, sell insurance and all this other shit, or the whatever company they went through, right? And what is you got the USCCA, and then you got the NRA, right? Which is their, basically it's self-defense insurance, right? Because even in a self-defense situation and you pulled out a gun and you shot somebody, right? Let's say you shot a criminal or whatever, you're going to get arrested. Okay, the cops don't know. They get there, they don't know who, what, chances are you're going to get arrested. Okay? And if it was underneath questionable situation, it was only you and that person, and they this and that, and it wasn't like a situation like, they were in my house at 3:00 in the morning and I shot them, but it was like some other situation. You know what I mean? You may have to defend yourself in court, or you may have to, you may get charged or whatever, right? You saw what happened to the video that I did with what's his name? The Twine dude, the security guard in New Jersey. They got arrested because he had hollow tips, right? And they were trying to get him on unlawful transportation of a firearm and shit. Like, he didn't do anything wrong. They eventually dropped the case, but that's the type of fuckery I'm talking about, right? So it is smart to have, something like the USCCA or the NRA's, carry guard or whatever, so that, you have the money for bail, you have the lawyer, they handle everything depending on, what membership you get, right? But New York said, no, we don't want you to have the type of firearms owner insurance to protect your ass. No, we want you to have gun insurance for the liability of paying for, some other shit if your gun was somehow misused or something, right? So in other words, they want the insurance to go in the other direction, not to cover you, but to cover everybody else, right? That's how they want it to work, right? So I'm like, so you're not really against the insurance aspect. You just wanted to favor what you wanted to favor. I'm like, it's some bullshit, right? But here's the part that gets me. This is what kills me about the Negroes. It kills me. Okay? This man just got finished saying, we's po. Black people are po. I'm like, okay, yes, talk about the economics, brother. Black people are po. Then he says, I like to suggest mandatory gun insurance. I'm like, well, the criminals, they don't give a fuck about no gun insurance. They're not going to get gun insurance. But that's not the key part. The key part is we's po. So if we's po, how many of us do you think can afford the so-called mandatory gun insurance? And you know how they're going to make sure, the liberals going to make sure that nobody going to have guns? The rate on that gun insurance that they want to pass, it's, first off, it's not even designed. It's got like a two-step problem, right? It says, oh, good intentions, and what if there's a shooting or something and the wrong person gets hit and da-da-da-da-da. You need to cover that, right? That's what they say, right? So you go, sounds reasonable, right? Bullshit. No, what it's designed to do is to price you the fuck out of gun ownership, just like everything else. Price you the hell out. I swear, I don't know what it is about black people that don't get this. If you put up a sign that said no niggas need to apply, if you put up a sign that said no guns for blacks, black people would lose their shit. They'd be jumping around, marching. Racist. This is racist. But as long as you go the back door route and you throw a high ass price on it that black people can't afford, or black people can't afford, for some reason, like, none of the alarms go off with black people. None of like black people run around. We poor. We so poor. We ain't got no money. We so poor. And then when somebody throws a high ass sticker price on something to literally intentionally keep us out, right? Because race and economics or race and money in this country and who has money and who doesn't is inextricably tied together. Black people don't see that it's a backdoor way of denying black people access to whatever it is they want to get. I mean, it's just that simple. You know what I'm saying? If Mercedes-Benz doesn't want niggas driving around in Mercedes-Benz bringing down the prestige of a Mercedes-Benz, what do they got to do? They don't need to put up a sign saying no niggas allowed. All they got to do is raise the price. Every Mercedes-Benz is now $50,000 more than what we previously had it. Niggas like, damn, I really like that Mercedes-Benz, but $50,000 more? I don't make that type of money. Yeah, because I only work for the white man. I don't have my own business or my own corporation or my own anything else. Oh, damn, I can't buy that now. Meanwhile, the executives at Mercedes-Benz are like, no niggas allowed. Right? That's all they got to do. They don't have to go in there and fucking, strong arm the shit and get caught up in some political racial shit. You know, Mercedes-Benz is being accused of it. No, all they got to do is price you out. So why is it that so-called wise black elders don't see this? Why is it they don't get that? Right? Maybe it's because a lot of them don't want young niggas to have guns either. You know, because, again, remember, there's no torch passing on in the black community. You know, there's no concept of it. There's no concept of, I want my young black men to be bigger and stronger and better and wealthier and happier and everything else more than I was, right? You know, the subsequent generation should be better than the last. Nah, old niggas don't operate like that. Old niggas operate on crabs in a motherfucking barrel. No, I don't want you to have that. But I want to maintain my chair of prestige. I want to maintain my Elijah Cummings seat and sit there and talk about racism all the time, every day, 10 times a fucking week. You know what I'm saying? But I want to make sure that you don't have any of the necessary tools to actually challenge racism in the system of white supremacy. No. I don't want to. I'll make sure you don't have none of the tools. No. Stay back, nigga. I'm just gonna go up here and tap dance and keep this perpetual struggle of there constantly being a problem that is not going to be solved, but we keep identifying it as a problem so that we can keep perpetually year after year getting your votes and getting, you to subscribe, to this idea that there's this struggle, which is real, that needs to be challenged, but we make sure that you always fall short of having the necessary tools to actually challenge this beast that we've identified. I'm like, man, fuck these old ass niggas, man. Get them out of office. Get these niggas out of office. You know what I'm saying? Like, coronavirus can't happen to these motherfuckers fast enough. I swear. Can't happen fast enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn. I mean, maybe the coronavirus is a blessing. Get rid of these fools. Damn. Just holding up the train. Just holding it up. I'm like, will you pass the torch or get the fuck on, man? I mean, damn, your time has passed. You took it as far as you could take it. Okay, we're gonna take it the rest of the way. Go home, retire, sit your ass down. You know what I'm saying? Because you ain't bringing nothing to the table. Damn, these old ass niggas get on my nerves. Then he says national registration and proficiency testing. National registration, right? I'm like, oh, so let me get this right. So you want the government that back in the 60s was all type of racist, and there was COINTELPRO, and the FBI was investigating motherfuckers and causing there to be a strife between the Nation of Islam, which is why Farrakhan's people took out Malcolm X and whatnot, right? So you want them to have everybody's name on a list so that they can know who the fuck you are and who got guns, right? Even though I think that secretly the government actually does know with the 4473, but that's a whole different conversation. But I'm saying, you want the government, right, that you say is racist and you dealt with in the 60s, to have a list of who has what. I'm like, are you really trying to tell me how, Sway? How are you trying to challenge a government that you are willing to give a list of that has what you have on it? Right? So that they can just show up, do the whole bullshit with Donald Trump and what he's doing with the black identity extremists. They'll use a black identity extremist. Right? So, and then not only that, I mean, that just opens the door for everything. Even with the white organizations that, the 3%ers and the Oath Keepers and all of this shit, even they don't want no shit like that. With the government, depending on who gets in power, the government is like, they don't want to have no situation where Nancy Pelosi is president and she's up there and just like, I'm going to investigate these people. I know who has guns, Ezekiel, Clinton, Bobby and Steven. I know who you are, you know what I mean? I know what you have. I know what you bought. I saw all the ammunition you bought, you know what I mean? And then next thing you know, they make you enemy of the state. They go, ooh, we got to investigate them. They just bought 1,000 rounds of 9mm. I'm like, I can blow through that in a weekend. A fun time at the range. No, we don't like the fact that you went out and bought ammunition. Like that bullshit they got in California, where we gotta go through a background check for ammunition. What's the next one? A 21-year-old age requirement and tough penalties for wrongful gun use. I'm all for penalties for wrongful gun use, but the 21-year-old age requirement, first off, again, despite all the problems we have in the black community due to all the poverty and gun crime and, social dysfunction, we don't have a problem of youngsters walking into schools and shooting up the schools. Yes, we have a problem with young black men, even high schoolers, obtaining illegal firearms that are circulating around illegally in the community. But we don't have the psychosis that many white folks have with the, I'm going to kill everybody, every man, woman, and child. Like, we don't have that problem. We do not have that problem. That's white folks' problem of, I'm going to kill that shit that that dude did up in Nova Scotia. We don't have that problem. Rarely do you hear about us in the papers when it comes to some shit like that. You got the DC snipers and the dude at Virginia Beach, right? And even the dude at Virginia Beach arguably was one of those, I'm mad because I felt that there was racism at work. There's always a reason. It's not just, I'm going to go in there and kill everybody. No, it's always like something they're connected to, their job or some shit like that. Not some random place, like I'm going to go to some place I have no connection to and go rampage. That's white people shit. And I don't care whether white people want to get upset about that. That's the truth. You know what I'm saying? You can't sit here and say that you worried about a black guy robbing you. Let's be real. You're worried about being at the ATM at 3 o'clock in the morning, even though nobody goes to the ATM at 3 o'clock in the morning for anything good. But I'm saying you worried about Pookie robbing you, carjacking you. I can understand that. I'm like, it goes on. The evidence is there, right? We've seen it, right? But you're not worried about some black guy walking into a movie theater and shooting it up. You're not worried about that. You're not worried about a black guy walking into a school and shooting. You're not worried about that. Not a black guy. You know what I mean? Let's be real about that. You are not sitting there going, oh my God, this black guy. You're thinking he's going to rob you. You're not thinking he's going to shoot the place up. Like, no. Let's be real about that. That's not what you fear. What's the next one? Oh, and getting back to the whole 21 thing. It's like, even with the 21 thing, first off, That's always a problem in my mind, because you can go off the war and die, but you can't exercise your Second Amendment rights. And aside from the fact that 21-year-olds, you can't get your concealed carry license or buy a handgun until you're 21. The only thing you can buy at 21 is a rifle or a shotgun. So again, most of the urban violence is what? Handguns, not rifles or shotguns. So preventing an 18-year-old from getting a rifle or a shotgun, that's not addressing anything that pertains to the black community. That is strictly addressing white boys shooting up schools, high schoolers shooting up schools, right? That's what it's addressing. And I'm saying, I don't think that there's an 18-year-old that has shot up a school with a rifle or a shotgun that they actually bought. They typically get it from their parents. They steal it from their parents, and then they go on their little rampage. But they're not going in and saying, yeah, let me get that new $800 AR-15, and here hold on, let me drop $800 and put it on this credit card or whatever. And it, like, oh shit, that is not what's happening. And what else? And that's it. That's all he has on there. But it's like, I can't, I can't. The way I look at it, any black man that is not for responsible gun ownership, right? And doesn't speak from the standpoint like, I don't care what's going on with Ray Ray and Pookie. I got to protect myself from them. And I got to protect myself from these emboldened, white supremacists because Donald Trump is president. I got to protect myself from them too. I don't care what's going on. None of what's going on should affect my ability to protect myself. You know what I'm saying? Especially with all the shit that black men face coming from all directions. You know what I'm saying? Like this is where I know that all this shit that you hear, this isn't a black agenda. There is no black agenda. This is the Democratic agenda, which is not a black agenda. They try to take black people's issues and throw it underneath this bubble of universal issues. I'm like, nah, fuck that. Fuck that. You want my vote? I need a black agenda on the table. Everybody else up there asking for everything they want. Black people can't ask for anything that they want. What the fuck are we paying taxes for? Ain't none of the resources being allocated to black people. We out here paying fucking taxes and shit. And nothing comes to our direction. But yet every other sub-minority group, motherfuckers that got here yesterday got their hands out, and it's LGBT community, what can we do for you? Democratic Party here to the rescue. Oh, Syrian refugees who aren't even fucking Americans. Oh, what can we do for you? We got resources for you. Oh, Asian people. Oh, I see that that nobody's coming to your Chinese restaurants anymore. Oh, what do you need? Oh, you need a bill? Oh, let us get that right. Oh, $2 million per business non-recourse loan. Oh, let's get that through. I mean, that was the first bill that went through on this corona shit. I mean, that shit just went right. I mean, they made that shit a point, and they noticed it was specifically for the Asian community. No commotion, no noise. Even the white people didn't even jump up and their heads explode. Had them come out with a bill, or let them come out with a bill even now. Oh, I would love to see it happen. Let them come out with a bill right now that did the same thing, or is doing the same thing specifically for the African American community that you saw of what went down with the Asian community over there in Queens, and went through fucking Congress, and then they threw another bill on top of it in New York specifically for these people. Let a bill come out. Oh, well, see, black people, because of long-standing history of inequality and, redlining and blockbusting and the inability to accumulate wealth, and black people working in the lower rung of, jobs and shit like that, being these at-will employees and all that other stuff. this is disproportionately affected the black community. We must allocate resources to the black community. White people would lose their shit. They would lose their shit. They would go fucking crazy if there was a bill specifically for the black community. A bill specifically for the Asian community. White people are just, I think that's about right. That's about right. I like Chinese food. I frequent Chinese food. Yeah. I think that's about right. Ain't no commotion. Anything goes to black people. Like they lose their shit. They lose their fucking shit. Black people talk about reparations for slavery. Oh, we ain't got no money. We ain't got no money. $2 trillion just fucking magically appears out of fucking nowhere. $2 million per Asian business fucking appears out of nowhere. Right? Build a wall. Oh, we got money for that. Concentration camps or whatever they got going for the Mexican. Oh, yeah, we got money for that. Syrian refugees. Oh, yeah, we can help them overseas and shit. Oh, we throw money at that. Oh, yeah, all these people, we gonna throw money at that, right? Black Americans and the shit that black Americans been through in this fucking... Oh, fuck you niggas. Y'all ain't getting shit. We ain't giving your shit. I know we said 40 acres and a mule, goddammit, but fuck you anyway. You ain't gonna do shit. Fuck, I mean, like, literally. I mean, it's unfucking believable. Just irritating the hell out of me. And it's just, I mean, these folks, they gotta go. These old black, dinosaurs, man, they gotta get the fuck out of here. I don't got no respect for these motherfuckers. They're not even talking sense. Always talking about the fight. Oh, fight the good fight and blah, 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 blah. And, what is done is we haven't got our due and everything else like that. And they talking out of both sides of their fucking face. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, give me one or the other. I mean, if you're gonna be a coon, be a coon. If you're gonna be, pro-black militant, be a pro-black militant. But don't be half-assing the shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm so sick of all this, fucking pissing on me and then telling me it's rain bullshit. I don't know what to do. I mean, cut the bullshit. But see, this is what happens. When the white supremacy comes down and, basically takes all the black leaders and fucking, just compromise. They're all compromised. Here, throw some money at him. Give him a government job. Throw a white woman at him. Here's a white woman. Take her. Like they start doing all that shit, and then next thing you know, all these niggas is like, I'm good. I'm comfortable. And then they start sucking and jiving on TV and well, black people, yeah, black people, y'all need to stop smoking and drinking, because, coronavirus, so, yeah, go tell Big Mama and Big Papa and, like that bullshit. Like the fucking, the Surgeon General type bullshit. Talking down the black, oh, now it's your fault. It's your fault. It's fucking irritating. So irritating. And people ask me, they say, well, but do you believe in standing shoulder to shoulder with white folks when it comes to the Second Amendment? Absolutely. And then, I had one white guy, he was like, do you believe there's going to be a race war? I was like, I don't know if there's going to be a fucking race war. I highly doubt it. But I'm saying, again, I still support your ability and my ability to exercise the Second Amendment. You know what I'm saying? Like, if there was a race war or some shit did pop down, we're going to be shooting at each other. We're not going to be throwing rocks at each other. That's for damn sure. Not if I have anything to say about it. We're not going to be up there throwing rocks at each other. I'm going to have my ability to most effectively defend myself, and you're going to have your ability to most effectively defend yourself. And that's all there is to it. Shit. I'm already at a strategic disadvantage. Fucking 5-1, Caucasians to African Americans in America. It's fucking fantasy. And even these white guys are like talk race war and shit. I'm like, are you fucking like really? Really? So worried about the blacks that they fucking ignore the fucking white elites that fuck them over on Wall Street and take their 401k and shit. It wasn't black people who did that shit. It was people who look like you. The people who are laying you off right now got you sitting at home waiting for a stimulus check. Oh, please tell me what black man you're working for who's screwing you over right now and fired you and just couldn't wait, until the end of the fucking coronavirus shit. No, you got pink slips from motherfuckers who look like you. It just, oh God, man, I just can't stand people sometimes, man. I really can't. Man. That's all I gotta say. That's it. I'm done. That's my video. What did I have? What's my name again? New Jersey gun laws out. New Jersey self-defense. So that's it. I got that off my chest. Can I read an article by African American? I can write the shit myself. I mean, that'd be easy for me to do. But I'm saying, like, I do look to have. I'm like, does anybody feel the way that I feel? Is there anybody out there that thinks and feels the way that I feel about this shit? It's like all of our black people, all of our black leaders, whatever. I mean, they've all been bought and, they all sold out. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to keep it real. Nobody wants to say what needs to be said. Everybody wants to sugarcoat and whatnot, because they're all tied up, in the system making money, and, you can't be that fucking radical. You know what I'm saying? And then telling it like it is radical now. Now that's radical. You know what I mean? Basically standing up for yourself and saying, I'm not taking your bullshit. I'm not letting you piss on me and tell me it's fucking rain. That's radical. That's radical. Again, all of this ultimately comes down to the fucking money. You want to hear me stop ranting and raving about racism and all that other shit? Talk to me about the fucking money. Let's talk about equaling the playing field of the ways in which black people over the course of decades have just been economically crippled and locked into the lower rung of a real life monopoly game. Just step after step, just denied access to education, had to fight to get into the schools to get a decent fucking degree. Then you got the FHA loans that were denied. Then you got the redlining, you got the fucking blockbusting, you got the job discrimination, you got the dumping of drugs in the black community, you got the mass incarceration. You know what I'm saying? It's just blow after blow after blow. And now you got all this shit with the LGBT community. I mean, the patriarchy has already been weakened to hell in the black community. I could have told white people, I'm like, we the canaries in the coal mine. Shit. Everything that's done to us eventually gets done to y'all. And now you see white men and MRA videos and MGTOW and all of this shit. They're pumping out videos talking about how, how the world is like just against the white male, and, they're out there trying to sissify boys. And I'm like, welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. Oh, you mean to tell me it's very difficult for you to be a patriarch and be head of your household when you're economically stifled? Oh, it's a surprise, motherfucking surprise. Oh. Yeah, the only difference is, unlike y'all, we don't blow our heads off. But it's like, you can't get nobody to see that. And that's like my main issue. And I'm done with this video, but I'm just saying, it's like my main issue. You know what I mean? The shit is so simple. You know what I'm saying? Everybody want to eat. Everybody want to live. Everybody wants to raise their kids. It's real simple. But all of that costs money. You know what I'm saying? And I get so sick and tired of these white people that come out here with their fucked up math and act like, I should be able to do with $3 with what it takes them to do $20 with. Like, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get me, they eating lobster and they trying to tell me I should be content with a bologna sandwich. Fuck you. Well, you're a nigger. You should be content with bologna sandwich. Fuck you again. And then try to throw it underneath the guy. Well, it's hard work. It's hard work. It's just hard work. That's all it is. Bullshit. No, it's not. It's nepotism. It's tribalism. It's group economics. That's what it is. Make sure there's not too many black guys who come in here because we don't want the power dynamic to shift. Let's be real about it. Cut the bullshit. That's what it's about. It's not it's not a meritocracy. Oh, let the best man win. That's bullshit. All I got to do is go and read that article, Ghost of White People Past, which is about white people who moved out of the Asian community because the Asians took over because their kids were getting too high scores on the SATs that their precious white children couldn't get into college. And honestly, I wish that's the way that black people would beat white people. You know, that's how I wish it would happen. You know, where we were just out there, kicking ass economically. But see, the thing is like, y'all don't pay attention to them. You pay attention to us. You don't care. Oh, you use them against us. Oh, they're the model minority. But then when they surpass you, then you end up start feeling some type of way. But and when they're up against the blacks, oh, they're the model minority. We love Asians. Asians are good. Yeah, until they start blowing past you and your kids. Then you start feeling some type of way. Oh, wait a minute. It's looking mighty yellow around here. It's all this Asian people around. Speak English, God damn it. Y'all start talking like that. Yeah, you don't mind a couple Asians here and there, just like you don't mind a token black guy here and there. But when you really start to see the demographics shift, y'all get nervous. Y'all start feeling some type of way. And that's just the reality. That's why, the world is tribal. That's why I can't subscribe to, Christianity and white Jesus and all that. Well, we're all God's children, and nobody fucking operates like that. It's a bunch of fucking smoke and mirrors. You can take white Jesus and shove it up your ass. Take the Bible and shove it up your ass, way up your ass. Trying to get black folks to subscribe to some shit, some way that you don't even operate on. You don't even follow the principles of Christianity. All I got to do is be the fly on the wall, sitting around your goddamn kitchen table, listening to you talk about how you really feel about niggas after you done had a nice long session of fucking, freaking Fox News. That's all I got to do. You know what I'm saying? Like these people that run around calling themselves Christian got so much fucking hate in their heart, it's pathetic. But then they sit there and think that they can run around pushing Jesus on you. And then the really racist ones, they're the ones that believe, Christianity and everything and the whole world, it's all just given to white people. And so, y'all are second. We're the sun and you all are just the planets orbiting us. That's what it is. Even though if a fucking alien spaceship came here, they tell you that the standard for a human being is a fucking Asian because there's more of them on planet Earth than anybody fucking else. But instead, the most significant minority on planet Earth, Caucasian people, they've made themselves the standard and they think of themselves as such, which is why they paint God in their own image, despite the fact that they stole the freaking Bible from the Book of the Dead and the ancient Egyptians coming out of Africa. Go ahead, look up Egyptian sun god Horus. But y'all don't do your research. Y'all don't go back that far. You start with, freaking Jesus in the manger, and then that's it. I know people don't like when you talk about Christianity, especially white conservatives. Oh man, they love them some Jesus. Oh, I love Jesus. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I don't know how people can process that shit in their head. I don't know how they can sit there, they read the Bible, they go to church every Sunday, all that shit. But at the end of the day, you start talking about race and the ugliness comes right the fuck out. And then they try to convince me,
oh, you should really come to church and blah, 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 blah. What, and sit next to your ass when I know how you really fucking feel about me? Nah, no thanks, homie. I'm good. That shit was forced down the throat of my ancestors. They didn't have a fucking choice. I got a choice, and I say hell to the motherfucking no. You can keep that book and all the fucking lies contained in it. Hell, it doesn't even matter whether lies or not lies. You don't operate on that shit. So at the end of the day, y'all sit there and y'all read every word in the Bible and walk right out the church and go white supremacy, white power, white power. As soon as you walk out the church, I'm like, nah, I'm good. The world is fucked up. People are fucked up. It is what it is. People will sit there and be like, oh, you sound like you're full of hate. No, I'm responding to the hate. This idea that motherfuckers just going, I'm just supposed to sit there and just accept it and live in a fucking fantasy world that doesn't exist. Oh, all of us should be holding hands and singing Kumbaya like the Who's in Whoville. But that's not how shit actually works. That's not what actually goes on in the world. Is that what you see when you look outside in the fucking world? Oh, and this is white people, they start blaming black people. Well, see, we would hold hands with you, but, y'all just so angry and mad at us. Yeah, and we're going to continue to be angry and mad at y'all. Because it ain't going to be no hold hands and it's going to be peace on earth and all that shit while we living and operating in broke dustiness and raggediness shit and y'all over there good and Gucci with the fucking, resources and the wealth and the connections to power and opportunities and all that other shit. And we got to sit there and watch all that shit. Fuck you. Especially knowing how the black people who came before us were done so motherfucking dirty and cheated out of so much shit. Fuck you again. And then motherfuckers got the audacity to try to act like that shit has absolutely no impact on today. Like, that's bullshit. If that were the case, then what the fuck are you doing passing on wealth and resources to your children? What the fuck are you doing putting away nest eggs and shit so that you can leave some shit behind for your kids? Don't sit up in here and tell me that each generation starts from zero. That's bullshit. It's bullshit and you know it. You know what I'm saying? And I can't stand a lot of you motherfuckers that try to sit there and try to gaslight and pretend like you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? You are not talking to a dumb-ass Negro. A lot of you like to think that. A lot of you like to just sit there and say some shit, and the dumb niggas will sit there and be like, well, I guess he's right. Yeah, I'm the scary nigga. Yeah, I'm the nigga that the white supremacists are scared of. Because I know too much. And I'm sharing that information, and y'all hate it. But anyway, that's all I got to say. That's my video. New Jersey Gun Laws out.